Good morning, George. Kevin here. I thought of a Black Mirror episode idea. Was talking with Maria at Condé Nast, and she's going to try and get us hooked up with, I don't know, Steven or Gregory, the guys from Reddit. But Black Mirror. In a not-so-distant future, a gifted man can't seem to read a book. So he has this device. He listens to the book. The books are read by voices that come out of these things that make sound come out of them. I don't know how we'll rip that up in the house or whatever, but it's like sound will come out of it, and that book gets read to him and stuff. And he tells his friend who can't hear, he can only read real books, the book that he's listening to, and they both talk about it, even though it went into their minds in two different ways. Black Mirror episode, season 4, episode 1. There you go. Bye.
Sci-Fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi. Busy daddies do sci-fi.
Calculate tonight.
Calculating.
What's up?
Nothing.
I'm George.
I'm George.
Oh, man. Should we start over?
No, it was.
Okay.
I mean, it was better on the two that we tried before.
Yeah, it was. But on one we weren't even recording.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so,
that was a rehearsal.
Sooner or later on this podcast, we will get good at actually making podcasts.
Yeah. We'll start by saying good morning.
Yeah.
It's 10:30 p.m. 30 p.m.
And you're lying. Even it's 9:30. But it feels like 10:30 because it's Christmas.
It does.
It's close to Christmas, and
why is that?
it's close to because things are more depressing, right?
Yeah,
That's
the
what they
workplace.
say.
We can't have a Christmas episode.
No, we're not.
It's really the only Black Mirror I haven't watched. I didn't watch the Christmas episode.
I haven't seen the Christmas episode either.
Forget that Christmas episode, man.
What is it about Christmas episodes, though? Like
don't know.
it is sort of this. They're sort of forced, and you know what I always loved? I always loved the Christmas episodes. Sitcoms would do it a lot, where they'd end with like this small conceit that Santa was real, like somehow, like the present would be under the tree or something, and the parent would be like, I didn't get that. Did you get that?
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
You'd hear like ho 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 or something like.
Your brother stole that, and I want him out of the basement by the end of the new year.
Right. They did the tag along episode where like the brother ends up in rehab for stealing shit.
I had
Home for the holidays.
I had my boy and his friend at LA Live this weekend.
I saw photos of
and
that.
we went ice skating, and so we're trotting around afterwards, and we go into the lobby of the Marriott to look around, and they have a giant Christmas tree and a bunch of gifts around it, and I'm like, dudes, are those boxes over there the ones with your names on it? And what? And they beeline over there and they start picking up the decorations. I'm like, well, it's on the bottom, I think. And they're like turning it upside down, shaking it, dude. And we had this guy kind of casually walk up to us and sort of usher us out. I think he was security. He was not like, but for a couple times I was just like, no, I'm sorry, it's not that one, guys. Those ones are the ones with your names on it,
sir. I'm present control,
mm-hmm.
and he's particularly hired during that season to make sure that nobody fucks with those
present
presents.
control. You know, it's a stranger job.
What's that?
Past control.
Past control.
Mm-hmm.
Control.
Future control.
Control of one's past.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
We're gonna Dickens this thing.
Wow.
I just did, didn't I?
You just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just dick.
You just dickened.
You just dickened it.
Love the Dickens. I love the Dickens.
I love the Dickens. Yeah.
There's a Doctor Who episode with Charles Dickens where they go back and they...
Is it a Christmas episode?
No, it's not a Christmas episode, though Doctor Who does...
A Christmas episode.
They do a Christmas episode every year, and they're always the standout. Like, it's usually a really quality show.
And those are the ones I enjoy. I see them like on the holidays when I'm around houses that have cable TV, and those are fun to watch.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That one with the sharks flying through the sky and the time machine thing. It was actually like a Dickens.
And it was like a Dickens,
Christmas Carol.
It was Nick Frost plays Santa in that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of the BBC, Black Mirror is not the BBC anymore. It's just Netflix.
Now it's just Netflix. It
was bought.
Yeah, they picked it up.
But they kept British people. That was brilliant.
For the most part.
It makes me feel so much smarter when I watch it.
There's a few that take place in the United States, though.
I thought those were British actors talking in English.
Well, like Bryce Dallas Howard is Ron Howard's daughter. She's in the first episode.
You just said Bryce Dallas Howard?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
I'm sure that's a foot fungus.
Oh.
Bryce Dallas Howard?
Yeah, BDH. Yeah. You don't know? Do you have the BDH, man?
It sounds awful.
I have the
whole
BDH.
Lot like
the BDH is one of the many.
One of the flavors of seltzers we've had, which
so
I stopped saying since I realized this is an international audience.
Well, I mean, we've gotten barred from every podcast outlet in the country,
which is
just
tough
iTunes.
On the numbers.
Yeah, tough on the numbers, man.
Yeah.
We're down to 4.
The guys from Reddit have called.
They called the hotline?
Don't call it a hot. I told you not to call
it a hotline. The red phone.
It's my cell phone.
It's your cell phone.
And it happens to be red. It happens to be red.
It's really weird.
Yeah.
That you still have a red Nokia cell phone. Don't drop that thing, man. You'll crack a hole in the earth.
Yeah.
Don't ever drop the Nokia.
There's so many ways I could have already segued into Black Mirror.
We know that's the funny thing.
I'm
We've already segued into
it
several times, and we have an interesting. This season was longer than the others. This is the third season of Black Mirror.
Black Mirror.
The other 2 seasons were great. This season was longer than the others. Longer episodes too, for the most part. The season
what does it
finale
all mean, George?
Is 9. I think they're getting bigger. They're getting more. Their stories are a bit more organized. They didn't just tack like a message on, like I felt like some of the ones in season 2 did. And their characterization I thought was really improved this season. Like there were a lot of characters that I was like, I really like this person. I really care about what happens to them. One of them being in the first episode, the character that Bryce Dallas Howard plays. Like, it was a sad. We get to know little things about her. She's in this world where you rate people and personal interactions, and everyone's got.
Dude, that's so like our world.
You know, a friend was telling me tonight that somebody came up with an app called People that the App Store rejected on the basis of they had one aspect that they did not approve of, and that was that you can rate
skin color
people. Yeah, the full on.
I thought that was racy.
I'm going to give him 3 Ks.
That was the scoring.
That was the scoring.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Whoa,
really weird.
Yeah.
No, you could rate.
Damn.
You could rate people that weren't signed into the app. So even if you didn't register, there could be a George Riccadella that people were just going, yeah, fuck that dude. You know, I knew him in grade school. And
which is the last episode of the season.
Which is the last episode, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
so we're fucked. That's basically, but we're not.
Doesn't spell a pretty picture, really. Like,
but it's not supposed to, because this is Twilight Zone.
It is, but it's Twilight Zone took the like Unreal and applied it to humanity and came a message. Like there were aliens. There was this is dealing more with like stuff that's real already. Technology that we already pretty much are on a path to have or have already. Like that's kind of Black Mirror's whole deal, and it sort of flips it on us and goes, "What are you guys doing with this? You know, what are you guys? what are you doing with this power that you will eventually have? You know,
that's done over and over.
yeah, done over and over.
So that's not significant to me. It's how people are on their cell phones or on their Facebooks and their Instagrams, to have it be put back on you. So I like taking the ride much more in these stories, and we didn't talk about how we'd talk about these, but you did begin to talk about the first one.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, we're going to summarize 6 of these?
No,
puppies?
I don't think we're going to summarize 6 of them.
No.
I think we're just going to talk about the things that stood out the most, and the messages that we felt were there, and the ideas that were behind them. We're going to get to the sci-fi.
Get to the sci-fi.
You know?
Well, you pointed and you said, I don't like that one very much. And which one was that?
That was San Junipero.
San Junipero. Which was awesome. My favorite one.
It was, I think it was your favorite one.
Yes.
All right. Go ahead. Why? Why? What? Before, let's just jump to. Tell me why the ending. I felt like it kind of bailed on the ending.
Why did it bail on the ending?
Because I thought like it was beautiful when she was expressing to her, "Don't you judge me. I had this whole life with this man. That I now want the possibility. I would rather take the possibility that I am going to."
Thinking of the list. Hold on, just pause.
All right.
This episode is going to be so fucking whack. Listener, we're presuming you've watched these.
No. If you have not watched these episodes, just stop. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7 days of your life,
7.5 hours, and go watch.
We'll be here, man.
Season 3.
We'll be here for you.
We'll try not to get too far ahead.
Guys on Reddit, if you could tally the actual hours, I mean, 7.5 is close, right?
Probably. I mean, that's if you count pauses for pee breaks and stuff like that, and if the kid looking at child pornography turns you on and you need to go do that yourself or something.
God. So, anyways, go to
what a twist.
Get to. Go San Junipero. So the ending. Okay. Go.
So the ending. She has a choice between either.
Wait, no background.
I'm doing background right now. She has a choice between either dying and seeing if there is some afterlife in which she may or may not meet her husband, or living her entire life in this computer simulation. Living her entire afterlife in this computer simulation, and the girl who she just met says, "Well, come on, we're in love. Let's do this. Let's meet. Let's hang out in this computerized afterlife." And she says to her, "No, I mean, me and this man had a daughter together. We lost her daughter. We had all these experiences. That's what I'm doing." And then the end just goes, "No, forget all that. Let's just play Heaven is a Place on Earth," and the two of them meet together at the beach house, and it's just all gone. I thought like it was a great episode, and had it ended with, no, they don't get that happy ending, it would have been more satisfying than...
Here, I felt the not happy ending.
You felt...
When she says, I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
All right? And then there's this kind of closure to the story, and you watch the woman who says, I'm not going to stay with you in cyber heaven.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ride this out. You watch her get sicker, and she makes her decision and goes to cyber heaven. And I feel that I experienced both the decision to not do it, and I got the warm and fuzzies on the end.
Yeah.
And I was able to have the distance to go, that was just a story. It was a standalone episode, and I didn't have much stock in it like that. I liked trying to figure it out. That was fun.
Really cool.
It starts in the 80s with Lost Boys, and there's a Lost Boys poster above this bar, Tucker's, that's in the same bar, same setup in this cyber world, but you can go to the 80s, the 90s, or 2002, right? And I sort of thought that maybe this was going to be a vampire thing with the Lost Boys twist, because at midnight there's rules being set up. They keep doing a time thing, and there's sort of an eternal thing you sort of feel, and everything's sort of off. And that was fun.
I immediately thought time was being played with from the interaction she has with the guy who says, we've only got 2 hours left. I knew... I don't know if it's just because it's like, here's the 80s, and one of them says something like, look, most of these people look like they're dressed like they saw an 80s movie, or something like that. Like, I kind of immediately knew, like, these people are not in this era. This is not the 80s right now. Mm-hmm. But I also really, really liked the puzzle that they presented. The only part of that which contributed a bit to me not liking it was then all laid out in an explanation that by the woman who is elderly, and she's talking to her, not her nurse, but she's saying, this is what this is. This is a device which was created for elderly people as a form of therapy and everything. It was not, there was no, we didn't have to connect the dots anymore because it was just all explained.
Well, I was done connecting the dots. I thought that was timed right.
Yeah.
I mean, I had my fun on the puzzle, and then it hit me. We had to go somewhere else with the story. So,
speaking of which, let's go somewhere else.
All right, yeah.
Let's
leaving
talk.
San Junipero.
Leaving San Junipero, and let's go back to the first part of season 3, which I felt like that one episode with the internet trolls, where they have got information on different people and they're forcing them to do things. It was so depressing for some reason.
That was
it was
fucking horrible.
Fucking terrible.
That was bullshit.
Yeah.
There was, the tech was, they don't, in my mind, Black Mirror somehow makes sci-fi. And then I go, it's Twilight Zone. And I don't know what their rules are, but they didn't push any envelope. They had a cell phone, and a drone,
but it was just,
and then they wrote some fucking horrible, and I mean, watching lives get wrecked horrible.
That's all it was,
and that was cheap,
and
painful.
That's what, like, seeing, and it wasn't even handled that well. Like, I felt like, first of all, at the moment when it ended, I was initially confused. And I took that as less of like I wasn't paying attention, and more of a like, no, they kind of told a shitty story there. Like, it's revealed at the end that the kid was looking at child pornography, and I was like, okay, so he's a scumbag, and now this is okay that his life is ruined? And like, he's cheating on his wife, so it's okay that his life is ruined? Like, is that what they're trying to tell me? That these guys are just like, it's justice? Or, that was just a text message from my doctor. Oh, boy.
Hell of a text, man.
Apparently it's,
whoa,
it's not benign.
Is it the nasally thing?
It's the nasally thing
it's
that
in your nose and throat?
When he can hear that from across town when I get super nasally, and he just shoots me a text and goes, George, calm down, brother.
Is this the doctor that Vic hooked you up with?
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's a real doctor.
Oh, he's a doctor, man. He has a van that says doctor on it.
Yeah.
Dr. Tits. D-O-K-T-O-R. T-I-T-T-S.
Here's what I have to say about that poor bastard who had to beat someone to death because he watched child porn. That kid, before I knew that he had watched kiddie
Poor bastard.
porn,
Yeah.
I thought it worked without him. You know, it made sense that he ran into a pedophile in the woods. So then you had a cheater and a pedophile and a politician and a scam. I didn't think he needed to also have a pedophile rap.
didn't
I thought
either.
he was doing this just to not be embarrassed by the peer group for wanking off on the thing. And that's when it got like double heavy-handed. And Nora and I watched it, dude, and I was like, man, I don't like shit like this at all. And it wasn't the moralizing crap. It's the same reason I don't watch Saw. I don't like your choice is your left or right leg.
right.
You know, and all that was just bring the fucking pain over and over again. And I was pissed. It disturbed me. I didn't like that it was in my mind, and I wish there was some way I could have. It reminded me of watching the end of the first True Detectives, which coincidentally was child porn related, but more about the powerless fucking just mayhem that was going on. And I was like, fuck you.
I think it plays into this thing that happens in low quality storytelling, where I'll give you a completely out of the blue example. I was watching the most recent Jurassic Park movie. Okay, and there's a character in that movie who plays an assistant, and she's a little annoying, but that's it. She ends up dying a horrible dinosaur-related death.
Mm-hmm.
And
the herpes,
really,
was it the herpes thing?
And
No.
the dinosaur whines her and dines her. The next morning, wakes
Dino
up,
herpes.
whines her and dines her.
Is that a cold sore on your
Next
face?
meeting,
No, you've been
wakes
stumped.
up, honey, you might want to go to the doctor. But it's too late. It's prehistoric herpes. But she dies. Like she gets picked up by a pterodactyl. The pterodactyl tries to drown her in the water, and then throws her in the air between other pterodactyls, and this big creature comes up and bites her in half. And it affected me. I was left affected. And the reason for that was death in movies and television has to be kind of an earned... Consequences have to be earned for characters. We have to feel like this person had this coming. This person had this... And it felt like it was cheated in that episode. It felt like they were just like, you know what? Here's just a smattering of bad shit happening to people, and we're just going to show it to you. It's not really going to have a tremendously powerful message or anything like that.
The flip side of it is, I mean, if these people are going to go around and make us think about who we are today, this could be a statement about the trolls, which I hadn't thought of yet, which is, you guys are assholes.
True.
You're using this thing. I mean, the punishment was there. Trolls don't like people, and these are the people they don't like, and they made them do nasty shit. Part of me wanted to see, with the drone, I wanted to see a room full of people watching it.
I wanted that
and
too.
betting on it.
That's what I assumed that was coming.
Just another layer of, and maybe they thought about that, but I wanted to see. It would have been. It sounded like we both thought that could have happened, but I would have loved to see what they imagined the audience was, because I do like how Black Mirror imagines things.
Yeah, I thought that was where it was going to go. That it wasn't these, stereotype basement dwelling, whatever. That it was like a level of power. This was a game.
Right,
and that's what it is. But I mean, I thought the guys in business suits and scotch and stuff like that, maybe, or
yeah. There's in one of Richard K. Morgan's books, he takes the cortical stacks where you and your consciousness live, and he goes and he's assassinating a religious sect that he doesn't like, and you can cross stack into animals, and he sells these to this guy he knows in the black market who has jungle panthers. It's like an amped up crazy panther, and he puts the stacks of humans in them, and it makes them be fighters. And you don't really know if their minds have ever been scrambled because of the cross stacking, or if they're conscious or not. But it's across the board known as a really horrible punishment.
do they
And-
then get to be human again, or
No, then
it's-
he gets the stacks are like
Yeah.
smashed. But so it was. I don't even forgot what I was doing with that one, but
it's fantastic?
I felt that they just added violence to the world on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
here's
that's
what
not-
I was thinking though, like what do you want coming after you, dude? Justice or mercy?
Right, yeah.
That's a question that's begged, and
Yeah.
and some of the people I hang out with at times, and I don't think those things fit the crimes. Those punishments did not fit the crimes, and
No, I mean he beat a guy to death, and is going to spend
Yeah.
the rest of his life
Yeah.
in jail. You know,
but apparently, that's the fate of a pedophile in jail.
yes,
Right?
Is-
Like,
yeah.
that's like the worst way to go to
Yeah.
jail, apparently. So it is a reflection of a sort of.
I
justice
think
that's
I
meted
mean
out,
I
but-
think their intent was that their intent was for us to feel like hey, this guy he's cheating on his wife. He's been saying he's not. He's actually not. He was going about
Yeah.
to
He's
cheating
setting it
about
up.
his wife. He was setting it up. And he speaks about if she were to find out the dire consequences. He'd kill himself. Basically, he says at one point, and then we see it come to fruition. She finds out everything. I think they were kind of trying to make us go, hey, these guys aren't so bad. This is this, and it's just like, hey, we don't care anyway. Here, boom, consequences. And I agree. I don't think any of those consequences necessarily fit. Certainly not the boy's crime, and they did need to tack on that little. Guess what? He was really a total scumbag the whole time, and whatever. So
That one was called "Shut Up and Dance." By
Shut
the
Up
way,
and
that
Dance,
may or may
yeah.
not be a clue.
yeah,
One of my favorites was the traveler who starts testing video games to make some money while he's in Europe.
for some reason it really rung the whole Twilight Zone bell for me.
And it did. And it was, speaking of not liking Saw, as I got older, I resensitized. And you're not going to catch me just watching gore or anything like this because it's not useful to me any longer. But it was cool to step into a Black Mirror episode and take the horror ride, which
Yeah.
I would not normally select for. And so it was done really well and fun. And once again, because let's face it here, the Trolls episode, Shut Up and Dance, lives are wrecked. In the episode we're talking about right now, the video game testing guy, he dies.
Yeah,
But I could stamp it out and call it a death in the name of fiction. Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm with you
And
on that.
and
Yeah.
whereas the episode we were just talking about, I'm just
Yeah.
like, he just took some hard,
And I don't
could have been a
yeah.
real story or something.
I don't think we shared that whole desensitization thing. I can separate the I can watch gore. I don't enjoy gore unless it's story driven. If there's violence as part of a story, I'm completely fine with it. But this this took horror and it sort of turned it on its head in that there was a comedic element to it too, because he plays a guy who's testing a video game that's full immersive VR, basically. And he's doing it in an old house, sort of like a old mansion, Victorian mansion, and he's seeing things, but he knows that they're part of this simulation. So he's commenting on them, in the way that we would when we're playing a video game, wow, that is really cool. Look at that spider.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. You guys are doing a great job. And then it starts to creep on, and his headset starts to crap out, and you don't know if that's part of the simulation. And he really doesn't either, and he starts to get actually scared. Things he's not supposed to be able to touch can now touch him. and stuff. So it
Well,
really
see, there never
starts
were
to-
those rules. See, the rules were dictated by the mind of the user.
Yes, yeah.
So you
he's-
could fuck yourself and
Yeah.
fuck yourself doubly hard, and that was really cool and quite paranoid. And the whole thing happens within like 0.4 seconds.
right.
Because, once again, the moralizing factor, he sneaks a photo of this tech to try and be able to make some quicker, bigger cash. Where his phone has been taken from him and turned off, he turns it on, takes the picture, and doesn't get it turned off quickly enough, which interacts with this tech. And so within 0.4 seconds, he has a 50-minute episode trip, and it fries his fucking brain.
Yeah.
And
The overlying
once again, like,
theme.
guess what, kids? Don't steal.
Right. What really kind of hit home for me, that made it added like almost like that Rod Serling element to it, was he is traveling around Europe after his father has passed away, and he's consistently avoiding calls from his mother. He's never calling his mother back, and they're doing like the notes at the end after he has died. They're making a note in his report, and the last thing he says was "mom." Right?
Yeah.
He says "mom," and so they write down "called mom" as like a, that's what he said.
Yeah.
And it sort of puts that nice little like, oh, that's clever. It's just kind of cool, when writing does that. I enjoyed the hell out of that episode.
That was good times.
But I got to say, my favorite was probably the season finale.
The season finale.
Yeah, for a couple different reasons. Like, it certainly had the most fleshed out characters, probably because it had the most
30
time.
more minutes.
Yeah.
It was a movie.
It was a movie. It was a movie. I really liked the message. I really liked the idea that we are accountable for our actions, whether they are in real life or on the internet, is something that I kind of like. I agree with wholeheartedly. I'm not a big fan of like standing on the soapbox that the internet provides, using the anonymity that it provides, and being able to be a jerk or even threatening people because of that anonymity. It's sort of an abuse. And then so this took that, where you've got a guy who is started a Twitter game where you hashtag death2 and then a person's photo, and whoever has the most death twos at the end of the day does actually end up dying.
Yep.
And there is like a little bit of a twist again, in that the whole thing is not to kill these people, but to eventually kill the people who participated in this game.
Yes.
To wipe out the people who felt like it's just a game. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter that I'm writing "I want this person dead" on a public forum. And it ends up with hundreds of thousands of people dying in London.
Yeah. Giant epidemic.
Yeah.
Well, they state a couple times how it's just sort of a half gesture to say death to so and so.
Right.
And whereas I didn't consider that an emptiness or a shallowness, I thought about that as a relationship to the medium of social media.
That it's casual. Like, that it's not...
Yeah. Like, so, I mean, what is that? At the core, is that a statement about internet bullying or something? And is that rampant or not? I don't know.
No, I took it as more of a... I took it as more of a comment on what I said, that like abuse is abuse. Like you are responsible for your behavior, whether it's on your Twitter account or whether it's something you say to a person in the elevator. Like if you shout out, death to you, I want you dead, to a person in your office, you're probably going to be held accountable for those actions, and that perhaps the same should be true if you do so on social media. Like people who get on celebrities' Twitter accounts and say like, you're despicable, I hope you die. Or they even talk about, like, one girl she takes a photo of herself pretending to pee on a war memorial.
Yeah.
And then that goes viral. Someone takes that and goes, look at what this, woman did.
Yeah.
And she's getting flooded with death threats. And everything. And these things happen, all the time in real life.
See, I thought that was also...
where someone's life is, even if it's temporarily destroyed because of something they did that is seemingly innocuous, yet it's not, because it becomes part of this new frontier. It becomes part of the internet. And then people are then allowed to say horrible things to them with absolutely no ramifications.
Well, but, I mean, why not pee on the memorial? Or write the shitty piece about the wheelchair-bound person?
Oh, I agree.
I mean,
no, I'm not saying you can't do those things.
And so, I mean, the format is, this person's a writer, and she writes some inflammatory piece about...
I'm saying you can't threaten to kill that person. You can't then say...
And so I guess that's what I'm like, yes. Okay, so we're watching a fiction piece. Yeah, man. That's that was a cool movie. There are comments about the ecosystem, and so the bees have died away from the colony collapse syndrome, and so there are drone bees that were made, and that would be pretty cool and feasible. I mean, you know what? Who needs bees if we can make drone bees?
Right.
So that made me feel better.
Yeah. And then who needs other things? Like, how far can you go with that then?
Well,
who needs sparrows? Like, who?
Well, but so what? So what? Are we going to condemn this moment we live in right now? I mean, fuck. Who needs prosthetics that are better than the peg that Captain Howdy's wearing? Or who needs, pacemakers? So...
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's I think we'd rather bees than robot bees. And we'd rather real legs than prosthetic legs.
Yeah,
I
also am sitting in a chair.
I firmly believe that. It's part of my platform.
Yeah.
Real legs, people.
Yeah,
and bees.
That's the peach sparkling seltzer.
That's what that is.
Talking.
That's a lot of it.
Woof,
man.
Woof.
We
Well, while we're at eradicating
we
populace,
skipped.
The roaches get it bad in episode 5. In episode 6, the bees come back, and they're drones.
The roaches, man. We talked briefly about that, and we both kind of called that one.
We said we guessed that one early.
Yeah. What
listener? We hope you did too.
There was definitely a parallel with past genocides that have happened. There's talk about these people being just having bad blood.
Well, that was interesting. Unlike some of the other genocides, these people would have cerebral palsy and prone to cancer and stuff, and
prone to even sexual.
Well, then they got into the old school
like
ones,
that,
like perversities, and so who calls perversity or what? But are you gonna remove Down syndrome from the gene, from the DNA? If you're given the choice,
eugenics has a pretty interesting history there, man. Like, it was, there were eugenics laws on the books until the 1970s in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's
eugenics. That's the stuff that keeps your face from breaking out when you're using soaps.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, which makes complete sense. Real faces are better than robot faces.
No, that's non-communicogenic.
That's
What is that?
what is that?
That means it won't give you zits.
Oh.
There was an ad, right? Yeah. You see what I'm doing
You
here?
can't avoid zits, man. You just can't.
Yeah.
Like when
No.
If you're a
can
kid
weed
and you
them
have
out.
zits, you're gonna go through it.
Death to
Yeah.
all people with zits.
You fucking roaches.
Son. But
We're
the roaches
coming for
episode
you.
was tame in that regard. So
Yeah.
you've got an implant. You're a soldier. The roaches look like monsters, like mutated zombie, weird radioactive things. That's cool to see. Very quickly, you go, wait a second. This is a screen. What do they call it? A skin. It's a skin that makes them show up like this, and you're actually icing fucking real people. And
Yeah. Kids, maybe even.
so what?
What was cool was that they extended it at the end of the episode, and they showed that, like, you know, the beautiful house and the beautiful wife he goes home to do not exist. That he's just being fed that as well.
Which is Matrixy.
And it makes you go, you know, there are some of those things that Black Mirror does that it's absolutely nitpicking, and it's a nerd thing that I do sometimes that make me they make me go, well, okay, but what about this? You know, like things like okay, well, we're in this world, and okay, does everybody have these, or only the military? So does everybody know that this guy lives in a shitty house? And when he talks about his wife, does everybody just think he's crazy? Like that, where there isn't a completion of the idea. There is I know you're shaking your head at me. But it's also like the San Junipero episode.
It completed the idea.
It didn't complete the idea. Like the San Junipero episode.
Yeah.
Okay, the San Junipero episode. I'm like, do they have to live at the beach for the rest of the fucking... Like, do they have to live in San Junipero in these 3 time periods forever? Like, this is it?
For now.
That. Like, who would choose that? Who would choose to live on the shore rather than the possibility of eternity, or even the lack of possibility?
Man,
so that those
it
are
was
the
tough
things
to
that like
decide
make
where
me
to
go,
build my beach house.
That's what I said. Nerd stuff.
And
all right, nerd stuff. These are
Nerd
these
stuff.
are the
nerds a bad name, man.
No, I'm giving them a good name right now. This is the stuff where I lie awake and think about how
killjoys. That's
dude, this is it's passion, man.
I guess so. I don't really care.
This is
But I do. So it's
you should care.
Time and again, like to me, the soldier gets dropped off by the unmarked military vehicle in front of his house, as George described. It's a wonderful house. The beautiful wife comes up. We see him standing in front of a, something that looks like Detroit, probably right now.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to these towns?
Graffiti
Water, not so good.
Not so good.
But I really thought that was like an outpost. Like, I just kind of imagined I completed the picture. A closed, maybe fenced-off area where you drop soldiers to go have that experience. The public's never going to see this area anyways. Kind of looks like a nuclear test site or something, like kind of blown out houses. And
cool. I see.
That's all. Like they just and
like
if it's
that.
your day to go visit your family, then you're just going to that place that's 90 miles outside of the city and gate it off.
Pan out and show that then. Complete that idea.
I have a gift,
Complete that idea.
And I saw that.
And don't simply... No, but that's what I mean. I mean, as a storyteller, complete that idea. Don't just go, I got a cool ending.
But then you never...
I
like thinking. I like it. It adds to me. I become part of the story writing. And you're all now. I know you have a gift.
That's beautiful.
Your edits of Tarkovsky. The internet's going wild. Dude, over those.
We cannot bring his name up anymore. All right, he's gonna. What the fuck is that?
Oh, that's Raskolnikov.
Who's Raskolnikov? That's Tarkovsky's little brother.
No.
Rus.
Dostoevsky's murderer.
Raskolnikov. Dostoevsky was murdered?
Murderer. No, in the story. No, he wasn't murdered.
Why'd
This
just
is,
say
you're
he
going to
was
piss.
murdered?
Man,
All right,
we're
anyway.
sorry, man.
It's okay. I forgive you. So, great season.
Great season.
Really good season.
Yeah.
I hope they keep making these. I love the actors that they get. Like, it's just like, oh shit, there's that the dude from Game of Thrones, and I like Bryce Dallas Howard was fantastic. I've said her name a few times now. She's the only one I can really remember.
That episode
That was delightful, man.
was cool. And she kind of just sticks it into him in the end. It's kind of funny.
I was worried
And-
it was going to turn into like she goes to the wedding and everybody just like loves her or something. Like all the really powerful people are like, yes, she's telling it like it is, and they're giving her like 5-point ratings or something. So when she goes to the wedding and it is actually just like really sad and tragic and destructive,
but liberating
and cathartic. Like I was all the more on board. And then when she ends up in the jail cell with this other guy who is clearly another outcast, and they're just telling each other to go fuck themselves, pretty much. It was fantastic. I thought it was a fantastic ending. You know what? I'm backtracking. I think that was my favorite episode.
Yeah.
I think that was my favorite episode of the season. Yeah.
I'm glad you got there.
I'm there.
You're there?
I'm there right now. I'm fully
did I
trumped
decide yet?
right now. You haven't decided.
I'm not going to decide.
I know. I think I'm going to decide for you. You
Yeah.
said San Junipero was your favorite.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, that was. It was. That was great.
Wasn't terrible, but it was not a good episode.
Well, I mean, as long as you say so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's nothing. You got nothing.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Hey, I got seltzer.
Hey,
oh
listener,
my god, I'm out of seltzer.
If you can, wait, no Twitter? We don't have Twitter anymore?
We have Twitter. We just nobody
No
bothers with Twitter anymore,
Twatter.
man.
It's Twatter.
Unless they're trying
Twatter.
to kill
So
somebody.
don't
with
Twitter,
bees.
but listener, if you can let us know whether Kevin or George won tonight's episode. The guys on Reddit will post the results. Is that what the people that counted us?
Well, we'd have to go to the Busy Daddies Dude Sci-Fi subreddit, which is thriving right now.
Busy Daddies do Sci-Fi.
Sure,
subreddit.
we got a subreddit.
So how do we get a full Reddit?
Oh,
Subreddit. Is that like, hey, it's not the motion of the sub,
not
it's
the
what you
motion.
do with it. It's not the size of the subreddit.
It's not
what
not
you
how
do with
busy
it.
the daddy is. It's how much sci-fi he does.
Yeah.
And
Speaking
where
of
he
that,
does.
do you want to name a book for the listener that you're going to listen to and tell me to read?
Oh, Stranger in a Strange Land.
Get out of here! That's a
What are you talking
remake.
about? What? We
Yeah,
never talk.
no,
All right,
no.
you are right now reading a young adult book called Unwind.
Mhm.
Correct?
And I don't recommend it. Don't do it.
All right.
Don't start it.
Look,
you didn't buy it yet, did you?
No.
You pirate all your ebooks, right?
I don't pirate my ebooks. I buy them off
should.
of Google Play. I probably should.
You know, there's a library and they've got ebooks.
I got a call
You
from the
belong to
library
them.
today.
You got a call from the library? Is this about?
It's about Thomas and Friends down at the docks. Which
Oh,
I don't
Thomas
know.
and Friend down at the docks.
I don't know where it
That's
is.
that's one of the racier
Oh
titles, too.
yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
one, man. It's a good
down
one.
at the docks.
Emily the train's wearing fishnets in it for
I
some
was about
reason.
to say.
Really weird,
Yeah,
actually. She's
yeah.
a train.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yes.
But you don't. I want to find something that's gonna ring my bell. Like I feel like I got to go back to stuff that like I didn't read when you were being tossed books by your father. You know, like that. Like,
hey, you know
like,
what?
I mean, I'll tell you the things that this past year,
listeners just want
Martian
you to
Chronicles
read.
and Stranger in a Strange Land are like those things. I loved them. So there are some times where I feel like I don't have that foundation that you have.
I don't have that foundation.
You totally do.
No.
You were raised like a reader.
But not all the sci-fi shit. That's newer.
Think I'm making excuses, don't you?
George,
Kevin, I can't read.
George, we're talking. You know what? This is how we know how fucked you are. We're talking about you picking a book to listen to.
I can't.
Kevin, I can't agree.
I can't hear either,
Oh,
Kevin.
yeah.
What?
I feel I've tried to call you out on this before.
I'm not being able to hear?
Or read it. Gifted Man. It was that episode we pitched. The Black Mirror.
Do you smell that?
Are you having a stroke?
Seriously, my wife is baking a cake right now.
Who's this cake for?
It's
Do
for
we get to eat it?
it's for her holiday party at work
Get
tomorrow.
the fuck
Yeah.
out. That's you know my holiday party is on my birthday. It's this week, this
The
Thursday.
15th, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, you know, guys, we could have had a holiday party and a birthday party and they consolidated. So I know it's going to be a good time, but
Was that ever bugged you when you were little? Having a
no,
birthday
this
so
is the
close
first
to-
time in my life I've had the Christmas crossover.
Yeah,
So, anyways,
it's not that
I'm
close.
going to live.
It's like 10 days before, so it's pretty.
So the foundation. Look, so that's going to pique your appetite. So
Shit, I almost got him.
what about
All right.
any of the Arthur C. Clarkes?
Totally.
No,
All right.
No. You're going to name one, and we're going to read it.
Okay.
Because I'm.
But you have very recently read 2001, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What about?
You don't even know.
I don't know, man.
So. Just start one. How you listen to them in your car, right?
No.
Oh, you listen to them while you're drawing.
There's no while I'm drawing.
Okay.
I'm in the shower.
Yeah. Gotta buy a new pair of earbuds. These things are fucked.
I keep 40 of them right outside the shower. I just pick one up. It's like
Yeah.
it's like at the airport when you're walking in the plane. You just grab one. Put
Can
it
you
on.
go back to the library story? How much do you owe them, George?
I don't know, man. I gotta look online.
They called you?
They called me
Have
up.
you- what?
They called me, Kevin. It's not good.
Whoa.
Look,
Which library?
it's LA Central.
So you can switch it up. Do you have a Pasadena account?
Of course.
You don't need to go back to LA Central for like 2 years.
It might take that long to raise the money.
They will not forget.
So they
Right.
won't cut it off or anything. I could go online right now and find out how much I owe. I'm guessing it's probably like $60 for $1.
You were why? Have you
How
lost
much is it a day?
25 cents. Have you lost
Oh
it?
my god, I'm fucked. It's 25 cents.
Have you lost it,
I don't know where it is. Yeah,
dude?
but I forget. Here's
You
the thing.
cash in. So
I forgot about it last
I
time.
hope this
and
is
I called
riveting.
up.
Reddit
I called
listener
up. I called up and I said,
Vic.
hey, I can't find this book, and they said, okay, we'll renew it for you. I'm like, great, fantastic. That was like 2 months ago. Maybe 3 months ago. And then I forgot about it completely, and then they called me today and said, you got this book out, pal. They didn't actually say that. It was a voicemail.
I thought you can't hear.
Alright, thanks for listening. You can subscribe to Busy Daddies Do Sci-Fi on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you listen, please take the time to rate and review. Reviews keep us on the charts, and that way people can find us. You can follow us at BDD Sci-Fi on Twitter and Instagram, or if you want to learn more about the Busy Daddies, check out bddsci-fi.com. Thanks for listening, and see you every other Wednesday.